So those are one example of kind of how we see Stalin forcing these countries to become communist, not allowing them to choose, and really kind of us responding by giving him like a threat. What this does is it creates and it allows to almost the emergence of something we're going to call the Iron Curtain, where in the West it'll be America and its allies, and in the East it'll be the Soviet and its communist allies. So what we end up seeing then is, with Truman threatening Stalin, the Soviets are going to refuse to let their army leave Eastern Europe. Remember, if we look at this map, that Germany used to control all of this territory, right? And that after Stalingrad, which was right here where I'm kind of doing my thing, the Soviets came back and reconquered all of this territory. So their army was in this region, and they refused to take their army out. They say, our army is going to stay in these countries just to protect the Soviet Union from anyone who wants to attack it. But then they go ahead and they force those countries that are on that map in red to become communist. What'll become East Germany, Poland, Czechoslovakia, Hungary, Romania, Yugoslavia, Bulgaria, etc. He makes them become communist, and they get to be called satellite nations, because it's kind of like a satellite, right? Here's the Earth. I'll put an E on it, right? What does a satellite do, right? It sits there and it spins around the Earth, right? And it's stuck in our orbit, and it doesn't get to do anything. It has to, it's there. It's kind of like that with the Soviet Union, right? And so instead of the Earth at the center, it's the Soviet Union. And all these other little countries like Poland and Albania and Bulgaria, they have to do what the Soviet Union tells them to do, because if they don't, well, the Soviet Union has their army in those countries, and the Soviet Union can punish them. So these satellite nations are politically and economically dominated and controlled by the Soviet Union, another more powerful country. And I don't want you to think that we didn't get in on this game, because we certainly did. The United States is like another gigantic big version of a country that has its own satellites. So, for example, France becomes a satellite of ours, Belgium, the Netherlands, Denmark, the United Kingdom, Ireland, West Germany, Italy, Greece, Turkey. These countries all become satellites of America. And what you should notice here is there's a clear line between East and West. Do you remember I said that the nickname for these groups will be East and West, right? That these groups will have a nickname of East and West. That comes from Winston Churchill, the Prime Minister of Britain. In a speech he gave in Missouri, he said there was an iron curtain falling across Europe. And this is it's a symbol of the divisions between the communist Eastern Europe and the democratic West of Europe. At least that's how he sees it. And he says that this iron curtain essentially is a real barrier. It's an actual fence, folks. Like, I want you to understand that. Like, it's an actual iron fence with mines and tanks and guard dogs and guard towers. And it describes the Cold War for like the next 43 years, this fact that we're all isolated from each other. And you can really see it, I think, better on this map, this line, this actual fence of tank traps and mines and et cetera, that kind of separates the West from the East, from the communist, from the democracy. All right? And we'll talk more about this in class, but I think that's a pretty good summary so far.